The latest Stephen King adaptation just dropped on Apple TV Plus, and we have no idea what we just watched, but we're about to talk about it, so let's get to it.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to our channel. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Ken, and we're here today to break down the first two episodes of the new Apple TV Plus limited series, Lisey Story.
Yes.
A TV series starring Julianne Moore, Clive Owen, Dane DeHaan, Jennifer Jason Leigh, all kinds of people in this series. Based on a Stephen King novel. So yeah, we just finished the first two episodes of it. What's your first thoughts, your initial thoughts right off the top?
So, first thoughts, I honestly am not quite sure what we just watched.
It was a lot.
Yeah, it was very weird and hard to follow, but we're going to give it a chance, and I'm hoping it starts to make a little more sense.
Yeah, we're going to give it our best shot. And how this is going to work, guys, is we're going to do this basically like we did the Mayor of Easttown. I'm already messing up the name again.
Already forgetting how to say it.
Yeah, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cover the first two episodes because they both dropped on the same day.
Right.
And then in the weeks following, we're going to cover it episode by episode. So next week we'll do the full-on spoiler breakdown of the episode, giving you our full thoughts. So this is just going to be more of like a general, mostly spoiler free, but there's still maybe some light spoilers here and there in our talk. We're just going to talk in a general sense about our first impressions with the show, what we thought of the first two episodes, and just go from there. So
yeah, and if you decide that you want to watch it with us, you can get caught up, and then you'll be ready to go when we do episode 3.
Yeah, because a lot of these shows I don't feel like a lot of people's really heard of. So when we first start out, it's good to, I think, maybe keep it a little bit spoiler free, and then as people catch up, then we get into the more spoiler heavy discussion. So, but before we break it down and get into it, guys, we want to ask, if you are not yet a subscriber of Married with Media, please hit that subscribe button, and also like this video. This is based on a Stephen King book that came out in, I believe, 2006.
So you know it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's based on Stephen King's hot right now. He's got all kinds of stuff coming out left and right. Movies, TV. I mean, he's always had movies and TV adaptations since like the 70s. The 90s was most famous for all of his, what a lot of people would consider really bad TV adaptations, like It, The Shining, Tommyknockers. I enjoy those things when I think about it, but he's been doing more like TV adaptations, I guess, with The Outsider that was on HBO.
Right, I remember that.
And 11/22/63, the one on Hulu with James Franco. I don't know if you watched that with me.
I didn't.
But yeah, Stephen King adaptations all over the place. But one thing that's interesting about this is that Stephen King not only wrote the novelization, but he also did his own adaptation. He wrote the teleplay.
Right.
And I don't know how many times that he's done that. I didn't really do my research, but I don't feel like he's wrote the actual screenplay for the material that was adapted for his own material that often.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Maybe it had to do with the cast. You know, he liked who was casted, or maybe he just knows that Apple TV has been killing it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it was just something that he felt like personally connected to, and he wanted to see the adaptation done his way.
Right, true.
So yeah, this is giving you the synopsis. This is basically Julianne Moore is Lisey, the character of Lisey.
Right.
She has two sisters. One of them's Jennifer Jason Leigh. One of them's Joan Allen. And she was married to Clive Owen, who gets, spoiler alert, but not really. They pretty much open the show with this. He gets shot and killed, so she's a widow.
The way that they have chosen to kind of tell the story, it's just been very different and weird. Yeah,
it reminds me a little bit, and I don't think you've seen any David Lynch films, but it reminded me of very a Lynchian style, I guess you would say. It's very like just dreamlike and telling the story without telling the story through just a lot of subtext. But
well, it's gone between like what seems to be the real world and what was going on when Lisey's husband Clive Owen was still alive. And there's just like some weird
there's some dark family history there with her sisters, and I get, from what I gather from it, because they show flashbacks Basically, Lisey maybe made up a story when they were younger about them being on a pirate ship or something, and they keep flashing back to that like it's real, and then Joan Allen's like stuck in that world.
Right.
So they're going back and forth through these dreamlike sequences, and they show flashbacks of Clive Owen, and there's supernatural like weird stuff involved there too, because he's like
right. Well, he's like, so even though he's passed away, which I don't know if we're gonna want to talk about this, but even though he's passed away, he is like leaving Julianne Moore. She's like on a like scavenger hunt. He's like left her these clues to I don't know what, but she's like going around and finding these clues that he left behind before he died or whatever. And yeah, it's just been very weird.
Yeah, it's really all over the place.
It
all
is,
over the
yeah.
map.
It's really hard to follow.
And yeah, you can tell it was written by Stephen King, because
I know you said that, yeah.
I've read a lot of Stephen King books when I was younger, and he does this in his books. He'll go off on all these tangents and break away from like the main plot of the story to like tell this side story. And that usually works in his novels. That actually works pretty well. But in the context of a movie or a TV show, I think that's very jarring. And I think it, especially when you're telling a quicker paced story, because they don't have the time that a book does to tell the story. So it just feels like it keeps cutting away from the main story and telling these side stories and then trying to connect them all, but they don't feel like they fit together, at least yet. Maybe they will in the next 6 episodes. So.
Yeah. I know it probably doesn't sound like it right now, but I mean, I like it good. You know, I like it well enough to want to keep watching it, because I do feel like I'm hoping the payoff will be good and be worth it. That it'll be one of those like aha moments, you know, where you're like, oh, now I get it. I get what they're trying to do now. So
it's a show that, based off the first 2 episodes, it's kind of difficult for me to straight up recommend, because it's not amazing, but I am very interested and intrigued, and I do want to see it play out. But if we get to like episode 5 and 6 and they're still just doing all this same stuff, it's gonna be a little bit like, all right, what are you doing here? It's 8 episodes total, so we got 6 more weeks of this show to cover and talk about. I think it's going to be released episode by episode, unless they do 2 episodes every week. I'd have to look into that, but I think all the performances are pretty good for the most part. Clive Owen isn't the best, I don't think. That's the only one I can maybe nitpick.
But I mean, from what we know, he's playing a very weird. It's hard to really pick apart a performance the way this show's written. It almost seems like that they all have some kind of mental illness going on. Like a lot of them. Like, I mean, at least the main characters, and clearly the like stalker, he's very Dane
DeHaan's, who I know you're not a huge fan of.
I'm not.
He kind of plays like the stereotypical weird kid in like everything he's been in. Like he was in Chronicle, Place Behind the Pines, that one that you were talking about, Cure for Wellness, and he does pretty much the exact same thing in this. Only probably a little bit weirder. But I mean, I like all the actresses that are in this. I like Jennifer Jason Leigh. I like Joan Allen. I like Julianne Moore. And I think they're all doing a good job of like showing that just that kind of family history between the 3 of them. And I think they all work pretty well together within the context of this story.
So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Like I said, I am looking forward to seeing it, you know, the pieces kind of start coming together.
Hopefully they do. The cinematography, this show's beautiful. Like, it's a beautiful looking show. Tons of just like really like stunning shots and cinematography,
vivid color,
like a lot of color. Like I'd point out a scene when Julianne Moore, or I think it was Julianne Moore, she comes out of that house. And the color of her dress is like the same as like the window, like the panes on the window.
See, I don't remember that part. I remember her being outside, and I think it's like fall time. And
there's just a lot of really beautiful imagery. And the cinematographer is Darius Kanji. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but he did some David Fincher films like Seven and Panic Room, which I could definitely see some inspiration from those movies in here. And he also did Uncut Gems, so he's done a lot of good work in the past, and I think that's really showing through here. So I just wanted to highlight that.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you have anything else to say about the show before we wrap it up?
No. I think that's about it. Like I said, it was a little strange, but again, I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes.
Yeah, and both episodes were, I think, about 50 minutes. So it's they felt like they went by pretty quick.
Yeah, they didn't like drag on that much.
Yeah, I think everything just stays interesting enough for it to never be boring. It's just very weird and off-putting in some spots.
Right, and I mean, I don't think, to be fair, I don't think they like want us to understand what is going on.
I'm hoping that's the case.
Right.
I'm hoping that's the case, and it's not just one of those shows that's weird for the sake of being weird, and it just doesn't go anywhere.
Right. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, watch Lisey's story. Maybe I can mildly recommend it. I guess the first 2 episodes, if I'm gonna give it a score, I would give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
I think that structurally it's kind of a mess. But again, these are the first 2 episodes, and I think there's a lot of promise there, and I'm intrigued and interested in what's to come.
Right. Yep. I agree. So.
All right, so let's go ahead and wrap this up, and we will be back next Monday. We're going to try to do these reviews every Monday of Lisey's story, episode by episode, so definitely check us out here on Married with Media if you do want that Lisey story week by week coverage. And also be sure to comment down below if you watch these first 2 episodes. What did you think? Also like the video, subscribe.
Yes.
And we'll see you guys later.
Bye.